there, friends. So I'm just going to make a quick video here to briefly show how to use the data that we have now downloaded to make our graphs. So when you open your data into your spreadsheet, I'm first going to show it on Google Sheets. Okay. So when you first open it up, you're going to have these first 3 rows here that have some information in them. It's very valuable information, but not information that we want specifically on our graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this data. So once I clicked on this cell, which is what these individual little rectangles are called, notice how it tells me what the July Northern Hemisphere sea ice extent is. That's a great title for your graph, by the way. But once I clicked on it, then I can click and drag, and now it has all of that information selected. So what I'll do here is I'll move my cursor until it gives me a hand thing, right? So now that I have a hand, we can move that information out of the way. So click on it, and now it's grabbed, and now it's boo off to the side. You can also delete it, but if you want to keep it on your spreadsheet to remind yourself of what that information is, then you can just do that. For aesthetics purposes, I want to delete the first 3 rows here, right? So just remind us a row is horizontal, where our columns would be vertical, right? So horizontal, selected them, I clicked and dragged down to 3. And so you can do one of 2 things here. You can go to Edit and delete rows 1 through 3, or you can do center or right click and this whole menu pops up, and then you'll delete rows 1 through 3. Now we need to select the data that we want to create a graph out of. So to do that, once again, you'll click on the A cell here and drag all the way over to C, or alternatively, you can click on A, hold down the Shift key, and click on C. And it does the same exact thing, right? So once you have your data selected, then you're going to go up here to the Insert button, and then you're going to Insert Chart. Woo! Awesome. So now we have our beautiful looking graph, right? So there's several things here that you need to make sure that you have on your graph. Big things. A title that tells us exactly what we're looking at. Value and anomaly is not a very good title. It could be value and anomaly of bananas crossing the road on an average day, right? So, but that doesn't make any sense, and that's not what this data is showing. I'll show you in a second how to change that. But first, and mostly foremost, we're gonna get practice into putting data onto the right axis. So to do so, you're gonna click on your data that you want to put onto the right axis, and Google Sheets is super awesome with their chart editor over here. So the chart editor is over here. Then we're gonna do my data selected. Now I have my axis. It's currently on the left axis, but I want it on the right axis. Well, bam! There we go. Right axis, golden. So, and you can add other things here too. It's kind of fun. You can add data labels. You can add trend lines, which are pretty sweet. But that's not what you need to do. That's just extra flair, right? So now we have 2 axes working. We have our horizontal axis title. It's awesome. It tells us that these numbers here are dates. But we need to add a couple of things. So first of all, our chart title does not tell us exactly what we want it to say, right? We need to, once again, tell the reader or tell the observer exactly what we have going on here. So we have Northern Hemisphere sea ice extent for July. Right, so that is a good, lovely title. It tells me everything we want. We could even do a subtitle if we want to say it's from years 1979 to 2021, but that's not entirely necessary at this point. The next things we want to do is add our vertical axes titles. So our numbers here on our left-hand axis is the average. You could even go super crazy and do average extent in million square kilometers. And if you need a reminder of exactly what those units are, all you have to do is move your chart out of the way and be like, oh yeah, that's what the units are. Okay, so that's why it could be beneficial to keep this information here. But you're like, oh crap, where did our chart editor go? Just double click on your chart and the chart editor pops right back up. Okay, so have no fear. So drop down menu, right vertical axis title is pretty much the same exact thing, except for it is the anomaly extent, which is also in million square kilometers. And that, my friends, is everything that I asked for you to put on this particular graph. If you're using this video to remind yourself how to make graphs, but we're using different data, just keep that in mind, okay? But this will generally be everything that I want you to have. Just make sure you follow the directions on whatever assignment you're working on. And now I'm just going to very quickly do the same exact thing, but on Excel. So say you're using Excel instead of Google Sheets. So let me just show that here. Okay, so I already moved my first three rows and deleted my first 3 rows out of the way. Okay, it was the same exact process as the previous graph, or previous in Google Sheets, right? So I'm going to select my data by once again choosing A through C. And now I'm going to go up here to Insert, Recommended Charts, and for this sort of data I prefer a line chart, but you can always, or line graph, line plot, whatever you want to say, but you're welcome to do whatever. One thing I don't like about Excel is that everything is so freaking small, right? All this font is so tiny, and it's kind of annoying. So first things first, we need to put our anomaly, or whatever values you're trying to work with here, onto the right axis. So double click on that, and your kind of somewhat little chart editor here will pop up on your right hand side. So click on secondary axis, and bam, it does that automatically. Are we done? No! So we need to go to, up in the upper left hand section here, go to Add Chart Element. So you click on that, you go to Axes Titles. We already have an actual title, so we just need to add all of our other titles, right? So primary horizontal, bam, there that is. Add chart element, primary vertical, woohoo! And axes titles, secondary vertical, woohoo, ×2. Okay, and then to edit what these titles say, you just have to double click on them and use your cursor to kind of, oops, sorry. Oh gosh, well, that was fun. So Control Z is your friend, by the way, which is the undo button. So make sure that you're looking at, or you have selected your title that you want to edit. And then from here, that's when you would put in what the actual chart title is. So again, Northern Hemisphere Sea Ice Extent for July 1979 to 2021. Not 29 to 2021. And then you would do the same sort of thing for your other axes titles. What's annoying with Excel is it stays like vertical like that. So kind of annoying. So average million square miles. I think if you go to home, yes, this is where you can increase the size. So you can select all by using Command A. And you can increase the size of that font because that is so freaking tiny. That's a little bit too large, but you can make it a size that is feasible, right? That makes more sense. So again, to change that, you'll double click on what you want to change, go to Home, select all. That's not the select all. See, this is kind of an annoying thing. Select all. And change the size to whatever size is most readable, right? And same thing for the main title as well. I'm just not going to do it for everything. But this is everything that I asked for, again, in terms of this particular graph. If you're using this video to reference just how to make graphs, please make sure that you are just using the correct data and you're following the directions that I want you to follow. Please let me know if you have any questions on anything. I'm here to help you. All right? Thank you.